Welcome to Crisis in Perception, where we examine the systems that shape our world. So, how does a civilization survive when its empires get completely shattered? Today, we're diving into this idea of Iran's empire of the mind, a culture that's lasted for thousands of years, not because of its armies, but because of the power of its ideas.
Okay, let's start with a puzzle, a real historical head-scratcher. How can a culture, hold itself together through centuries of nonstop conquest and political chaos?
I mean, for thousands of years, the land we now call Iran has been the stage for some incredible drama. You had these massive empires, like the Achaemenids, rise up, only to be completely conquered by people like Alexander the Great. And it didn't stop there. Later, you have the Arab-Islamic conquest, and after that, the truly devastating Mongol invasions. I mean, each one of these events just shattered the political state.
So, you'd think, right? By any logic, all of that repeated destruction should have just wiped its unique culture off the map. But it didn't. Iranian identity has held on with this incredible resilience. So, how is that even possible? Well, the reason this puzzle can seem so tricky is that we're often looking at the whole thing through the wrong lens. We get fixated on the rise and fall of dynasties, on armies and borders, basically on political power that, in the grand scheme of things, is pretty fleeting.
So, let's introduce a new framework. This comes from Michael Axworthy's incredible book. It's a whole new way of seeing Iran, not as an empire of land, but as an empire of culture, an empire of the mind.
Yeah, in his book, the historian Michael Axworthy argues that the secret to Iran's continuity isn't some unbroken chain of kings and rulers. No, it was maintained by something much deeper, a powerful, shared cultural system. So here's the absolute key takeaway. This is an empire built on ideas, not just on armies. Its territory isn't land with borders, it's the shared consciousness of its people. A consciousness shaped by language, by poetry, and by a totally unique way of seeing the world. A really great way to picture this is to think of culture as this deep, powerful river. The landscape on the surface, that's the politics, the rulers, the borders, it's always changing, often violently. But way down deep, that river of culture just keeps flowing, completely uninterrupted. All right, so how exactly does this river of culture work? Let's start with what is maybe its most powerful current, the Persian language itself. Persian is, it's a fascinating anomaly in the region. It's an Indo-European language. That makes it a linguistic cousin to languages like English and German, which is wild when you think that it's surrounded by Semitic languages like Arabic. And get this. After the Arab conquest, a lot of local languages just got replaced by Arabic. But not Persian. It survived. It absorbed new words for sure, but it kept its core structure completely intact. And what's so cool is that you can actually see these ancient connections right in the words themselves. The Persian word pedar for father, dakhtar for daughter, mush for mouse. I mean, come on, that's incredible. These aren't just borrowed words, they're echoes of a shared linguistic family tree that goes back thousands and thousands of years. But language is only part of the story, right? It's the vessel. The real question is, what is it carrying? Well, it's carrying the stories, the myths, and the collective memories that really form the bedrock of a culture.
So picture this. It's around the year 1000. Iran is under foreign rule. And a poet named Ferdowsi takes on this absolutely monumental task. He decides to write an epic poem, the Shahnameh, or Book of Kings. And he did it with a very specific purpose, to create a cultural time capsule, to preserve the heroes, the myths, and the memories of pre-Islamic Iran for everyone who came after.
And this quote from the hero, Rostam, just brilliantly captures the whole spirit of the thing. He says, "The saddle is my throne, this helm my crown." This isn't just some warrior bragging, no. It's a powerful declaration of identity, of resilience. It's a pride that doesn't need a physical kingdom to exist.
You can't overstate the impact of the Shahnameh. It was huge. It did way more than just tell stories. It basically became a form of cultural infrastructure. It helped unify the Persian language, it gave people a moral compass, and it made sure that the memory of ancient Iran would never, ever be lost. It's now a foundational text, right up there with the Quran and the poetry of Hafiz in Iranian homes.
So when you put these powerful currents together, this incredibly resilient language and this literature that acts like a time capsule, you really start to see the shape of this civilization. And there's more. You also have to add in foundational ideas from ancient Zoroastrianism,
one of the world's oldest religions, which saw life as this epic struggle between truth and lies. That deep philosophical current is another huge part of this river of Iranian culture.
And that brings us right back to where we started, back to our crisis in perception. If we only focus on the shifting sands of day-to-day politics, the headlines and the geopolitics, we completely miss the much deeper, much more powerful river of culture that has been shaping Iranian identity for thousands of years.
Just as Axworthy puts it, the story of Iran is ultimately the story of a much more important and a much more resilient empire, the Iranian Empire of the Mind. It's a powerful reminder that the empires that last the longest aren't always the ones you can point to on a map.
So, this leaves us with a final question to think about. What other empires of the mind are out there shaping our world today? What other powerful cultural systems built on ideas and stories are flowing, mostly unseen, right underneath the chaotic surface of modern life?
Crisis in Perception examines how systems shape belief and how better tools help us see clearly.
This project is completely free and open to everyone. If you'd like to support the time and research that goes into making it, you can become a supporter over on Patreon. We'd really appreciate it.
And if you want to go even deeper on this topic, we have a much longer audio-based analysis. Just check out the deep dive linked in the description below.
Finally, if you enjoy this kind of systems-level thinking, please do all the things. Like, subscribe, and definitely drop a comment to let us know what books or big ideas you'd like us to tackle next.